Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Regarding Islamic worship rituals, the misconception I will discuss today relates to zakat on salaries. It is generally understood that zakat is only imposed on our wealth, and of course, we pay it once every year on the wealth that we have saved. And as far as any other aspect is concerned, the only other concept that we have is that zakat is also on agricultural production, which is 10% or 5% depending upon the nature of the lands, and then we have zakat on livestock. However, as far as salaries are concerned, generally they are considered to be wealth, and whatever income we have, if at the end of the year it gets accumulated, then 2.5% of that accumulated wealth shall be taxed. However, if we go a little deeper, we'll find out that our own salaries are the result of our own skill and hard work and labor. And we are producing something. By nature, something is being produced. We are working something, and as a result of that, that production is we are reaping some benefit. So it is very, very probable and much more appropriate that we regard our salaries to be analogous to production. And just as we have agriculture production, we have there are certain factors which produce agriculture production. For example, we have labor, which means skilled labor, which puts in hard work, and it could be non-skilled as well. But as far as labor is concerned, it is there. And then we have investment. So therefore, investment and labor are two things which produce things. Here, our own salary means that our own labor is producing something. It's our hard work, it's work that we put in that produces something. So therefore, it is very appropriate that we regard this our own services or our labor to be analogous to production. Now, the question would then arise: if this is so, then what should be the rate of zakat that should be imposed on this form of production, which we call our salary? If we analyze in the time of the Prophet how this distribution between 10 and 5% in the case of rainy lands was made, we can easily derive this formula as well. We know that in the case of rainy lands, the ushr was 10%, zakat was 10%, and which in case of non-rainy lands was reduced to 5% or nisf ushr. Now, the question is that if this is the case, then how should we relate the two? If we deliberate on this issue, we will find that in the case of non-rainy lands, we need both investment and we need labor. And in the case of rainy lands, we do not need any investment, or the only thing it requires is labor. So we can come to a formula, and that is that whenever both of these things are present, labor and investment, then zakat should be 5% on production. And when one of them is missing, then it should be 10%. So in the case of our salaries, we are producing something through our skill. We are producing something through our labor. So in the case of our salaries also, analogously, we would regard that the zakat that is imposed on them is 10% of the value that we are given, of the salary that we are given. And this is because salary is something which we produce through our labor. And as we had derived earlier on, when labor is the only thing which is present and investment is not present, then zakat should be 10%. So on salaries, this zakat should be 10%, and it should be given every time we get the salary. Whatever the salary is, we should just take 10% out from that and then give it as zakat. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات.